I see already this week's episode has caused quite an uproar, with questionable animation, missing scenes, and missing panels. But I'm going to talk about that and more in this week's episode of Bleach: 1,000-Year Blood War, Episode 3.
Welcome back to the stage of history.
Everybody, what is going on? It's me, Captain Theeliteace. We are live action. You already know what it is. Now, I'm going to just cut straight to the chase. This was a good episode. I enjoyed it. Of course, I'm going to go over the good and what some say the bad and what others say the ugly. But yes, I really enjoyed this episode. I mean, yes, the little things that were missing or the things that people complain about, it didn't just ruin it because I see right now what's happening. Each episode, there's an ongoing pattern of people complaining and getting paranoid and worried if the Bleach anime is not going to meet the expectations or lead up to the hype that people hope and dream for. But you got to realize that a lot of animes, including Bleach, it isn't a shot for shot, panel for panel, copy and paste. This happened, even with Bleach before it was on hiatus. Yes, if you actually go back and look at Bleach in the beginning, the anime versus the manga, there were panels missing, but a lot of people don't know that, or they probably forgot or didn't care. But for the ones who don't know it, that's because a lot of people, they started with the anime. So, and then they gradually worked their way over and moved to the manga, and then they got familiar with the manga, and now they see this anime and they notice a lot of differences. But of course, as we see with this return of Bleach, the real question is what they took out worth it? And was it justifiable with what they seemingly replaced it with? So that's what we're here to discuss and talk about. But again, let's talk about that good. Now we see when the Koge was fighting Ichigo, oh man, when he went into his holy form, perfect. I mean, perfect. It's just the lighting. I mean, they're in Hoiko Mundo. It's always night, and his energy, the reishi, the particles, everything, the way it just lit up. Not the whole area, but the surrounding area. And this is something that you can appreciate about animes, how it just bring moments to life as it should be, because we all remember how this looked in the panel. When I first seen it naturally, I'm like, oh man, he looks stupid. I still think he looks stupid, but the anime, well, I think this form looks stupid, but in the anime, it really makes you appreciate it or like it more for the ones who don't even like it at all. And I mean, I just enjoyed it. Animation was good. Things were solid. It was crispy. The music, I really like the music in this episode. Some would say this is the best so far out of all the Bleach episodes. I know it's only 3, but out of all the 3, a lot of people will agree that this episode had the best music. If not this episode, episode 1. It's between the two, but I really enjoyed it. You can really hear and tell the remixes of the previous Bleach tracks, and I hope we hear this moving forward throughout the Bleach series. And another thing I'm feeling with the return of the Bleach anime, of course, like a lot of things, time flies when you're having fun or you're enjoying something. So when I'm watching something that I really enjoy, it goes by like that. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, man, it's over already. But it felt like that more with Chainsaw Man, but I'm not going to get to Chainsaw Man too much. This is a Bleach review after all. But with Bleach, I know what's going to happen. So as I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, it's leading up to this point, and episode is over with. Damn, gotta wait the next week. But that's fine because it keeps that momentum going, the good pacing, because even in the manga, the pacing felt so good. It really did. It kept you just pulled in and interested. But the one thing we got to see, the added scene, I loved. However, I wish more was added to it when Uryu was talking to Ryukin about this, and I did get some answers throughout this scene, but yet more questions came about in my mind. So we see, yes, Ryukin, he knew about this all along, and that's all I wanted to. That's not all I wanted to know, but back then, years ago, when I first was reading this arc, I was thinking, like, I can't wait to see what Uryu's dad think about this. What is Ryukin gonna think about it? And we've never known it. And I just kept thinking to myself, there is no way he doesn't know about this. And we see he does, and then we see their relationship is still the same, cold and heartless as ever. He doesn't address him as father. He calls him by his first name. He lets him know, what you're doing here, you're not supposed to be in here. The answer you're looking for is not in here. And of course, I noticed it cuts to Shino and Yuki, and they're talking to Walmart Aizen. I think Kajumaru. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but the motivator who just looks very, very, very similar to Aizen. And I know Kubo probably didn't do that on purpose, but you know, a lot of these mangakas, their art style, some of the characters at times, sometimes, especially at certain angles, they can resemble each other very closely. So he's giving Shino and Yuki a history lesson regarding the Quincies, and I noticed, you know, the Quincies and the Soul Reapers. And I noticed the flashbacks, you know, you see the pink and black filter just like in the intro. That's something new. Again, I'm enjoying the music. I'm really liking it. So when it moves on to Aeon being summoned, I like that. I really did. I like the fact, yes, as you can see, it's still censored, because I love the fact that since it's, that it's not censored, their arms are literally gone. I will never forget when they first summoned Aeon in the anime, you know, since it was censored, you seen like just this energy barrier, you know. I remember they touched their arms and it just made this energy light and summoned them. In the manga, it was gruesome and bloody. And in the anime, as we see now, bam, it's exactly how it should have been. And it was good. It was cool. Now, some people really didn't like when Aeon hit Kuroge and the way he went spinning and sliding. Some people didn't like that moment in animation. But hey, it was all good to me. Overall, I enjoyed the whole scene between him and Aeon. But I did notice something. Man, when he started to just absorb everything, again, the lighting, the effects, the CGI was very good. Very good in my opinion. But I noticed one of the things that was missing, actually a little thing that was added, I love this realistic detail. When Chad jumped and flinched and grabbed his cheek, because you see he was just peeling off. And that has to be one of the most dangerous moves throughout all of Bleach. Think about it, not just in Hoikomono, but in Soul Society as well. Everything is made up of reishi. So as everything is just breaking down, we know Quincy, they can absorb, manipulate reishi to their will, and he was doing that to the max. That is a very, very dangerous thing. But I see it takes time to do it. It doesn't just happen real fast. We see it wasn't happening to Ichigo, because Ichigo came behind him and hit him. You know what? He broke the halo over his head. And the animation right there, I know these motivators don't want to talk about that. That animation right there was very, very nice, very smooth, very clean. The way it zoomed in on his eye, the way Ichigo had his Zanpakuto in the air slashing down on him, I really enjoyed it. But to dial it back a little bit, the one scene that was removed, I don't know why, was when Sung, she went over to Chad and Orihime, and she noticed, oh, you're the princess, you know, that Aizen kidnapped, and she made the snake fortress. You seen like her face is split, and it was like a snake fortress, you know, made them invisible to the naked eye, and that, you know, they couldn't get sensed or seen. That was completely removed. In the anime, they grabbed Apache and they tried to run, and well, Mila Rose grabbed Apache and they both tried to run, but with them being, you know, slightly getting absorbed, they fell down, and that was it. While that wasn't, you know, I'm like, okay, they took that out, whatever. That wasn't like, oh man, they removed the snake fortress. This episode is terrible. I still wonder why they removed it. I mean, I can do without it. I'll play that. That's a scene I can do without. However, dialing it back a little bit more, the one thing that people were complaining about the most is when Ichigo and Kuroge were fighting before he activated his final holy form. And the moment when he was doing the multiple slashes while giving the extensive dialogue. While yes, I can tell that I caught someone's eye, you know, just the classic ting, 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 and then you see the repeated animation. I'm gonna tell you this right now. That has been done for years all throughout anime. If you go back and watch that scene again, at least it switched to Kage, then it switched to Ichigo, then it switched, you know, the camera panned back a little bit where you seen them both. Then it switched back to Kage, then it switched to Ichigo, and then it switched back to him a lot because he gave that long, extensive dialogue. Now, what's funny is that if you look at that one panel in the manga, that's exactly what was happening. He was swinging in a repeated motion. I even put this on Twitter to get people to realize, like, wait, what are you all flipping out about? They see that repeated animation and they think like, oh, they're losing money or the quality is going down or the animators are getting lazy. That's not the case. Just relax. I mean, to me, it matched that panel. Now, I have right here, I'm going to put up on the screen. Shout out to this motivator, eZoro, on Twitter. He was replying to what I put, as well as ZBrad101. He said, "That's why I'm confused. I don't see the problem. Many anime use repeated frames for high-speed attacks. Bleach has a couple already." And right here, we can see the fight between Ukuyura and Ichigo and Gin Ichimaru fighting Toshiro. And yes, that is actually true. You know, we just don't see this in Bleach. Like you said, you see this in other animes as well. And I get it. See, people have this expectation. Oh man, it's 2022, new better studio. Oh man, this is gonna be movie quality every second, every frame, all the time. Make no mistake. You can tell that they prioritize moments and scenes. When Ichigo or Hime-chan and Uryu showed up on a roof to save Yuki and Shino, yes, the quality was very, very, very good. And then at certain points, you see a slight dip, but it wasn't nothing to where it just ruined the experience. It wasn't nothing to where you couldn't watch it, or you just say, you know what, I'm dropping it. It didn't meet my expectations. Because to some people, while you are expecting movie quality, this is not a movie, all right? The animation and quality is still very good. And now, if you want to take it back to another example in Bleach, you know, before the anime returned, look at the animation and quality with the Ichigo and Grimmjow fight for the third time. Excuse me. And then look at the next episode, you know, after that bull crap, when Orihime scream, you know, "Oh, don't die, you know, stop getting hurt." And Ichigo grabbed Grimmjow's arm and said, "Sorry, I'm not allowed to get hurt anymore." And he cut him down right here. The next episode, you can tell it was a decline in just the art and everything else, but it was still watchable. Because I promise you, when we see the fight, when Bach fights Old Man Yama, they are really going to prioritize those moments. I mean, for example, the one thing that I thought that looked better in the manga, and this is just a small thing, whatever. When the Star Knight showed up in Soul Society, Basby, to me, when he showed up, you know, he looked better. That angle and just the way he was drawn looked better in the manga opposed to how it looked in the anime. I mean, it still looked good in the anime, but to me, I just think it looks a lot better. Now, with all these things getting removed and added in, we still don't know the whys and the hows and the what fors. But this is the thing. Never just rack your brain about it too much, because we still don't know. We can make all of our guesses, assumptions. We're not the animators. We don't work at the studio. We don't know the budget. It's so much we don't know. Maybe one day, once this whole first part is over of the anime, we will get an interview from the director, and maybe he will answer that question. Another thing that was removed, but it's cool. But I noticed in the manga, when Koge, you know, he got the orders from Bach to kill Ichigo. In the manga, you seen the panel of the actual earpiece in his ear. I guess that was a reishi spiritual earpiece. But in the anime, he just did that. See, little stuff like that being removed, that's fine. There was another panel when AI got absorbed. You really seen like the rest of his flesh just peeling off. See, in the anime, you seen it starting, half of it came off. Then there was a new scene where he dropped to his knees. The camera was from behind, dropped to his knees, and as he was falling, you seen the upper torso that was just removed, and the spine and the skull falling forward. But yeah, in the manga, there was a tiny panel where it was just, you know, everything damn near was gone. Again, that's fine. Now, the things that I wish they would have left in there was when Bach showed up, you know, and you seen his foot, you know, and we seen the Soul Reaper look up and they seen him. Why did they remove that? I don't know. In the anime, Walmart eyes into Shino and Yuki. Oh, don't worry, Squad 11 is out there. And the manga, that was not the case. But I do like what they added in though. You seen that pillar of reishi fire just pop up, and you seen it just knock not all the Soul Reapers, but a good amount of Soul Reapers in the air in the way they were falling down. I like that. I really did like that. And again, it looked just as good as it did in the trailers. You see all the Star Knights showing up, popping up. The intro of them showing up was good. Music was perfect. Lighting, angles, animation. And then of course, oh boy, the moment that so many people wanted to see. That critical hit that Basby gave on Kira. Now I noticed, yeah, see, man, Squad 3, they got jacked up, but they all got jacked up. But Squad 3 really got jacked up. But I noticed Asuka looks very similar to Sojiro. You know, I think I'm saying his name right, Sojiro from Diamond Dust Rebellion, Toshiro's old best friend. He looks very similar to him, but again, just slight differences. But something they added in, I did like. See, in the manga, I was assuming he shot an arrow that took out Kira. But as we can see, it was the flame. I'm pretty sure it was Burner Finger 1 because when it came out, you seen it was the actual flame. I like that added detail. But in the manga, the flame, you can see it went past, the 3 Soul Reapers, and then it hit Kira. Yeah, different angle. Kira's on the ground in the anime with his arm, ripped off. No complaints. I liked it. The slight little differences, again, it's not gonna ruin the whole episode. But I will say this though, and I'm gonna stand on this. Going back to them removing the speech that Byakuya gave Renji. So, I've seen people say online, on social media, and I think a little bit in my comment section that, it was irrelevant, it didn't add to the story, it didn't matter, that's why they cut it. But I find that funny that they kept that history lesson in this episode that Walmart Eisen gave Shino and Yuki. They could have cut that. Come on, now let's keep it real. We keep it real over here, y'all. Let me know down below. Keep it real with your captain. Did you all felt they should have kept that? That is Bleach 101. We did not need to see another history lesson between the Soul Reapers and Quincy's. Even when I read that years ago in the chapter, you know what I was thinking the first time? I'm thinking, oh man, this is taking up pages. It's taking up. Come on, man. We know this. We know this. This is on the same level as why all Bleach fans, or just low-level Bleach fans at that, it's on the same level as to know why, Hollows and Soul Reapers are enemies. You should know this. Everyone should know this. So they kept that in. Now some will argue, well, is this to keep people refreshed, or this is for the newcomers. Motivator, if you a newcomer and you starting out here, nah. Don't disrespect the series or Kubo or the team like that by starting out. Go back and start from the beginning like so many of us have done. Even if the ones who never started from the beginning, they started somewhere, they seen an AMV or a cutscene, that's how they're introduced to Bleach, and they was like, okay, now I'm gonna go back. But don't just hop into Bleach willy-nilly. You never seen one episode, you don't know the basics or fundamentals. But yeah, they could have kept that out and replaced it with something else. You know what they could have put in? The conversation between the lieutenants. Yeah, y'all thought I wasn't gonna bring that up, and this is what I'm talking about. I mean, people say the speech Byakuya gave didn't add to the story. Y'all think the conversation between the lieutenants didn't add to the story? Think about it. We haven't seen Bleach in 10 years plus. This would have been the first time we've seen a lot of those characters on screen. And I actually like this moment because it's not often we see the lieutenants holding their own little special meeting. I mean, look who was all there. We had Renji, Rukia, Kira, Nanao, Nemu, Tessazamo, Rangiku. We had so many. It'd have been so cool. Yachiru was in there as well. It'd have been so nice to see those characters. But again, we don't know why. Maybe it was issues with the voice actors. Maybe it would have went over their budget. We don't know. We can just make assumptions. But in my opinion, again, touching on that tidbit of information about Sojiro, the lieutenant of Old Man Yama, possibly the first lieutenant of Old Man Yama, as to the fact that, hey, he never used Bunkai in battle. He achieved Bunkai before Sunshine Ukitake was even born. When you have a character that's dead and we rarely got to see him do anything throughout the story, I mean, that's the least that we could get, a little bit of information regarding him. And it wasn't like he was just some low-ball lieutenant. This was the lieutenant of Old Man Yama. I like that speech, and it was also, the way I took it, not necessarily a jab at Renji, but it was something for Renji to realize, like, damn. Because the same thing applied with Renji. All those vacancies, Renji, he could have been went on and been a captain, but he just wanted to stay under Byakuya. That's why Byakuya was like, his severe loyalty is what got him killed. And him not, using his Bunkai in battles. But again, I thought that was worth keeping. But they took out the mini lieutenant meeting, and they added in the backstory on the Quincy's and Hollows. That they should have kept. I mean, not the Quincy's and Hollows, but the Quincy's and Soul Reapers. However, but other than that, the intro to the Star Knights looks good. The way he turned around at the burner finger, popped the head, I loved it. To me, this was a good episode overall, despite the things that were missed, twist around, that should have been in, that shouldn't have been in. It was good, and I'm still enjoying Bleach. I'm so glad that it's back. Let's be grateful, all right? Let's go on, because I know once this first part is over with, we gotta wait for season 2. Yeah, we're gonna be thirsty for Bleach again. So that's my take on Elite. Give me your thoughts, comments, and concerns. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Did you have an issue with the animation? What were your favorite parts? Do you think they should have kept that moment in with Walmart Eisen, giving a freaking history lesson between Soul Reapers and Quincy's? But yeah, that being said, I will see you all next week for Bleach episode 4, the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Signing out.